Welcome to this episode of the Coaching Circle. No more gaslighting yourself. It's time to step into your power. Now, gentle listener, I feel like I'm channeling the narrator of Bridgerton here. But I want to talk about this topic, and I've been in two minds and as I've thought about this, because number one, I do want this to be a bit of a kick in the pants about maybe how you are talking to yourself or how you're treating yourself. But I also want to do this in a loving way. And I also want you to hear this in a way of not a reason to start being harder on yourself, but just to have some gentle awareness and to bring in some loving compassion as well as a bit of grit for backing yourself. So that is the frame for this episode. And let's talk about gaslighting because, I've had my fair share of gaslighting in my time. And most people think about gaslighting as something fairly insidious, which it is if you've experienced it, that a toxic person does to essentially manipulate or control someone else. And like I said, I've been on the receiving end of this before, and I certainly don't tolerate it anymore. And I am acutely aware of it if I hear it or see it. However, I had a very big realization. And if you're not sure exactly what gaslighting is, it's essentially when somebody tries to change your perception of reality and make you out to be the person that's crazy or to doubt yourself or to, they essentially try to make you play small. So it might show up as that they're really rude to you. And then if you get upset, they try to make it out that you're the crazy one and that they didn't do anything wrong. Or they'll try to say that they didn't say things that they did and essentially just make you doubt yourself. Okay. It's pretty toxic type behavior. And this is why personal development is so important because the only reason that people have access to treat you like that is usually because you've got some kind of childhood wounding that doesn't recognize where your boundaries should be in that kind of situation. Anywho, gaslighting from other people is one thing, but one of the biggest realizations that I had was after I had become aware of this with my external relationships or how I interact with people or how other people interacted with me, what a big realization that I had was that I was still gaslighting myself. Now, this is something to really consider for yourself because it's one thing to walk away from someone who's undermining your reality, but what happens if that voice is coming from inside your own head? Now, I used to just call it negative talk, and a lot of people refer to this like negative self-talk, but it's more than that. Negative self-talk just sounds like a bit of a term, but we're talking about the real self-doubt, the second guessing, the minimizing your own experiences, talking yourself out of what you know is true. And this is something that needs to stop now. Now, this is your reminder call in this episode to really call it out for what it is and start backing yourself the same way that you expect people close to you to back you. Because the truth is, if you don't trust yourself, other people won't trust you and you won't trust others as well. And this is something that I see that comes up is that when people aren't backing themselves and they can't trust themselves, and when I say trust yourself, that means trust yourself to do what you say you're going to do, to follow through on the things that you say you're going to do, to speak to yourself with respect, and to really treat yourself like you would your own child or you would treat like a young child, that really wanting to boost yourself up rather than tear yourself down. Okay, so really thinking about this. Right. And so, what I want to do is to just give you a few ways that you might be able to recognize where you've been gaslighting yourself. And I use this term gaslighting myself because, like I said, when I talk about, negative self talk and things like that, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, that's a thing. But when you go, no, what is this really? Like, what would I call it if somebody else was doing it to me? Then we start getting some skin in the game about how much we're going to tolerate it. And I don't want you to be tolerating this from yourself anymore. So let's talk about how to stop gaslighting yourself and really fully step into your power, your magnificent power, your power that is here to lead, to do amazing things in the world, to make a difference, and for you to share what's really important to you, what your purpose is, what is the change that you want to see in the world. This is what we want to move to. So, like I said, gaslighting is when, we talk about it with other people. It's when someone makes you doubt your own reality. But self-gaslighting is when you do it to yourself. So some of the common ways that this shows up in business is especially around visibility and maybe posting content and saying to yourself, maybe I shouldn't really post this. What if it's not really good enough? What if I make myself look silly? Right now, think about that. If somebody else was saying that to you, maybe you shouldn't post that. Maybe people will think you're silly. Do you really think it's good enough? If someone was saying that to you, you would think they were toxic, right? That would be really gaslighting type stuff. And if you then got upset at them, which rightly you should, then they would still keep trying to convince you that it was you with the problem. This is what we do to ourselves. And this is what's happening to you if you listen into those stories. And, sometimes it shows up as saying, oh, maybe I should wait until I have more experience, or I've done another course, or something else to prove that you're good enough. Maybe you're saying things to yourself like, well, other people say this or do this better than I do, right? None of that stuff is really acceptable talk to have with yourself. Okay. And when we get into this space of really doubting ourselves and second guessing ourselves and telling ourselves all this stuff about how maybe we're not good enough and maybe we should just go back and get a job because who wants to listen to me anyway? All of that stuff, right, is very self-focused. It's very self-indulgent as well. And it very much makes you feel like crap, right? It's this kind of toxic little space. And so we really need to be able to know, well, how do I stop this? And what do I do instead? And what you can do is, first of all, you have to have awareness, right? Consciousness equals awareness. You've got to get consciously aware of what is going on inside your mind. And this is really the key to any kind of personal, spiritual, development, is that you have to get awareness of at any given time, what am I picturing in my mind? What am I saying to myself? How am I feeling? What am I saying out loud? We really need to get aware of all of these things, because otherwise you're just running on autopilot, and not even your own autopilot, but the autopilot that you were conditioned into as a child. And this is what you've got to catch yourself, right? So notice if you're doubting yourself or dismissing yourself, right? And flip the script. Flip the script. So if you're saying, oh, what if nobody likes it? Say to yourself instead, what if this is exactly what someone needs to hear today? Because I can assure you, this is, I hear this time and time again. I've heard this over and over and over in my career of the last, 9 years of coaching and being in business, is the amount of times that someone who has never liked or commented on my post says to me when I see them, I read that post that you put up and it changed something for me. It was exactly what I needed to hear. So you can't judge what impact you're having by what are people engaging, like as in liking or commenting on your stuff. So you've really got to back it and know that if it's something that's helpful to you, it's going to be helpful to somebody else. And like I said, always ask yourself, if you're saying something to yourself, ask yourself, would I say this to a friend or a client? Right? If not, then don't accept it as the truth for yourself. And you can also say, and this is the one thing that really helps me flip it as well, is would I be okay hearing somebody else say this to me? And I've got very strong boundaries around how people it's okay to speak to me. And it's something that I've had to put in place because I've had experiences of where people did speak to me in ways, when I was younger, that wasn't very helpful. And I had to learn to reprogram myself and then be aware and put in real clean boundaries around that. Okay, so really think about that for yourself. And in my program Business Alchemy, I talk a lot about balancing masculine and feminine energy, right? And this is all very much related because backing yourself has got a lot to do with masculine energy, and trusting yourself has got a lot to do with feminine energy as well. So when these two are in sync, your business feels good and it works for you. Okay, so the masculine energy is making sure that you've got the structure in place. It's your confidence, it's how you move, it's your boundaries and how decisive you are, that you make things move, that you take action, right? That is all your masculine energy. And your feminine energy is your intuition and your creativity and your trust. And it's the part of you that knows when something is aligned or not. Right. And so this is what we've got to be really mindful of, is that if we're not backing ourselves, if we don't have healthy masculine energy, what will happen is that we will either talk down to ourselves and give ourselves negative messages about our capabilities, which of course makes us feel emotionally unsafe and upset and hurt. Okay. So you'll get negative emotions that come from this kind of toxic masculine talk to yourself. And also what happens is if you don't have healthy masculine energy, when you say you're going to do things, you don't follow through and do them. And so then the feminine in you can't trust yourself, right? You can't trust yourself. And if you can't trust yourself, you'll find it very hard to trust other people, because everything that you're doing within yourself, right? It's going to be projected outside. It's going to be projected externally. So what you need to do instead is to strengthen your healthy masculine energy by deciding to have your own back. Right? Deciding to be your own back, imagining that you have got this strong, loving man who has your back. And this is because each of us has their own internal masculine and feminine energy, right? That does this, as well as then external to that, we have masculine and feminine energy. And this is where polarity happens. And this is where energy is built as well, which is all very, very important. So imagine you've got this inner masculine energy that is like caring, it's strong, it backs you, it provides structure, it really like boosts you up, it tells you you're amazing and that you're capable, and that, it really just drives you to do the things that you say you're going to do, right? Helps you achieve your goals. And then in doing that, then you also honor your feminine energy by being able to trust yourself. Okay, and when you're able to trust yourself, you can be more intuitive, more creative. It's easier for you to operate in your business. It's easier for you to coach, to create social media, to use your intuition, to make decisions fast. And this is really important in business, is that you can make decisions on the spot. And the more that you trust yourself to make decisions on the spot, the more certainty that you have that you can handle anything. And so when you feel like you've got certainty that you can handle whatever's going to come up, you take quicker action. And the more action you take, the more energy you build, the more magnetic you become, the more your business grows. So this is the thing, trusting yourself and taking action. When we talk about confidence in business, confidence isn't about knowing 100% of everything. It's about deciding and backing yourself before the proof shows up. And this is really important. So every time you hesitate or you question or you dismiss yourself, you weaken your self-trust. But the good news is you can rebuild it. And this is what I really want you to focus on. So think of your self-trust like a muscle. So the more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you back your idea, it gets stronger. Every time you say you're going to do something and you get it done and you feel that sense of, yes, I did that. I said I was going to do it and I did it. It feels exciting. And it gives you that trust. You can trust yourself, but it gives you that momentum for what else is possible. And so instead of hesitating, then we take action. So instead of saying, well, should I really post this or not? You just post it, right? Instead of debating in your head, like, oh, is this price too high? You stand by it with certainty. And so it's catching those what ifs. Oh, but what if they say this? What if they think that? What if I'm not good enough? Right? So you got to catch those things and reframe them. So instead of what if people don't like it, it's what if this changes someone's life? Okay, so you what if up, not what if down. Okay, what if up is what if everything works out? What if this is the best thing I ever do? What if this lands with someone who just needed to hear it? What if someone sees this who connects me with an amazing opportunity? Those are the only what ifs that you want to have. And so you really got to think about this, as in when we think about how do we create this healthy masculine energy, when we think about masculine and feminine energy and where it comes from, when you're, in the womb to up to about 18 months old or 2 years old, you're very connected to that feminine energy. That's the nurturing, typically mother energy, but it's just the nurturing, caring energy to make you feel that you are nurtured and loved and connected and that you belong. And then from about 2 is the masculine's energy to bring you to the world. And this is when if you kind of think about like the Lion King, and the Lion King brings I forget what the lions' names are, but he says, here's the new king or whatever it is. He shows his lion cub to the world and he's like, this is the greatest lion cub and you should all respect him and he's going to be a great leader and he's amazing. And everyone goes, yes, here, amazing. Welcome to the world. We're so glad you're here. You belong with us. We all respect you and value you. Right? That would be the ideal world. Doesn't often happen that way. So if we're not brought to the world in a way that feels like we've got structure and we're being backed and we're being shown in a way that we're valuable and that everything feels safe and secure and that we're good to go in the world, well, then that's where these self-doubts and things come in. So you can't change what happened to you when you were a child. So as an adult, you have to reparent yourself. So that means you've got to decide to put yourself to the world and back yourself, just like if you were bringing a child into the world and you're going, this is my child, they're amazing. It's like if like royalty, right? Royalty, the king, the queen, and they have the prince and the princess and they bring them to the world and they say, these are my prodigy and these are fabulous people and they will be amazing leaders and we will make sure they are well educated and skilled and that they can provide and be great leaders of our lands and make sure that everyone lives in safety and harmony and everything will be fabulous. Right? That is how we're meant to be brought to the world. So if we didn't get that as children, we need to do that for ourselves. Right? So it comes to that self-respect. Treat yourself like you are valuable. Right? Treat yourself like you are high value and you are high value. And I don't mean that means you're higher value than anybody else. I mean, everybody needs to know that they're high value, right? High value. There's no, oh, I don't want to be higher value than anyone else. No, everyone is high value. Like, and treat yourself like you're high value. Show up like you're high value. How you treat yourself will directly impact how other people treat you. How high value you treat yourself and walk around as if you are, the more influence you're going to have, more positive influence you're going to have on helping people change how they think and how they feel in a positive way. Right? So it's really important. Keeping promises to yourself, showing up for yourself, following through for yourself, doing what you say you will do. All of this builds unshakable self-trust. And that's what you need for your offers to sell, for your clients to get transformations, for your social media to get great reach. It's this sense of certainty. And because this is the truth, right? People are drawn to certainty, not perfection, not the most amazing credentials in the world, but certainty. Certainty that you know how to get results for yourself and for other people, that you know how to provide a solution, right? This is really important. I know for myself that I absolutely know with 100% certainty that I know how to help people grow their business to 6 figures and beyond, and do it in a way that feels supported and is not going to lead you to burnout, and that you can do it in a way that gives you great lifestyle. And I know because I've done it myself. I've done all the things myself. I went from being a part-time single, like accounts person, single mom, to building a 6-figure and above business for myself by going through these particular steps, by working on this stuff with myself, by resolving my money blocks, by, resolving my masculine and feminine energy blocks, by transforming my thinking to think like the CEO of my business, not a practitioner with a job, right? To put structure in my business. I've done all those things and I know for sure that they work. And so when I talk to someone who says, I need help in this space, I 100% back myself. 100% with certainty. I know if you follow these steps, you'll get these results. And that's why people keep working with me, right? Time after time, year after year. I've got people that continue working with me because they keep growing to their next levels, because I keep growing, because I keep backing myself, right? So you need to do that for yourself. And you don't have to convince people then. You don't have to convince people of anything. You just show up with the energy of, this is what I know for sure. This is what I stand for. This is what I believe in. And the more you trust your voice, the more others will trust you. So instead of then doubting yourself, you can make decisions fast. Your confidence grows when you move and you take action. You own your voice without apology. Your perspective is valuable because it's yours. You grow the neurology of doing these actions so you can help more other people. And you remind yourself about why you're here and why you're doing it. And it's not about you. It's about the impact that you can make. Right? So show up like your work matters, because it really does. Now, if you're waiting for permission, you don't need permission. I give you permission. And if you need to hear me saying, I give you permission, fantastic. But if you need to hear me saying you've got permission, you didn't need my permission, right? Because it's just a set of words. Give those words to yourself. Give yourself permission, right? You don't need proof that you already have your own power. It's a given. You don't need someone else to validate you. You've got to validate yourself. And when you validate yourself, you'll stop showing up expecting other people to validate you, and you'll move with certainty because you're validating yourself. And that's when you can be in true service. And the moment you stop questioning yourself and start backing yourself fully, everything changes. Your business thrives when you thrive. When you trust yourself, when you take action and you let your work be a true reflection of who you are, then you become magnetic. So I want you to think about this. If there's been something that you've been hesitating on and you're ready to take action, tell me what it is. I really want to know, what has this inspired you to do? Because I want you to back yourself in business. And if you want a community of people around you who are really serious about personal development and owning their worth and really doing really important work in the world, then come and join us in Business Alchemy, because it's where you will do the biggest shifts around how you relate to money, your business structure, masculine and feminine energy, and where you'll hold yourself to a whole new standard that will transform how you feel about yourself and your business, and your clients will get more amazing results as well. People that have joined in here, even after the first session, I had a one-on-one with a client who just joined, and she said, even after that first session, everything's changed in my business. How I perceive myself has changed. All these opportunities have just opened up. Boom, boom, boom. Everything changes when you back yourself and you understand your own value and worth. And like I said, in Business Alchemy, we do this really deeply. So there's a link about this in the show notes. Check that out, or send me a message and I can have a chat with you about it as well. And of course, if this episode has resonated with you and you think someone else could really do with hearing this, please share it, because I'm here in service. The things that I learn and the things that I help people with, I want everyone to get this understanding. Start backing yourself, trust yourself, and have a magnificent day.